We're going live. Let me take a look and see if we're live already. See if we're on. Um, okay. Looks like I need to
We
add
are.
to this. Are we live?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Okay, we're here. Okay. Wow. I tell you guys, happy Sunday. Look who I have as a guest with us tonight. I have our very own Kirk the Beard Boss, all the way from Washington State here. I am Debbie Pitts Palmer, DPP, coming live to you guys from Trussville, Alabama. And I'm going to I'm going to allow him to introduce himself. Can you go, Kirk?
Hello. Like Debbie mentioned, I'm Kirk, and I'm currently in or near Seattle. We're west of Seattle. So if you were to look at a map, uh, we're in Bremerton, Washington. And I've been with Cincy now for about, I don't know, 3 years? I think it's 3 years.
Uh-huh.
Or it will be, I think my anniversary is coming up in May. So I don't remember.
Right.
I know my first year was Austin, Cincy Family Reunion Austin happened just a few months after I joined. So however long ago that was. So I think this is my third year.
It is. You came on board before COVID. Yeah, before the pandemic,
Yes.
right?
For sure.
So, okay, guys. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to, first of all, what is your title right now, as we can see here?
Director. Yeah, director.
And how long did it take you to promote to director?
I don't remember. Do you? It was like 4 months?
It was pretty fast. It
Yeah, it was
was.
like 4 months because I think I joined in May. And then I took a vacation and came back. And then I think in June, I sort of started doing stuff. And then I went to reunion in July. But I think by like August, I was already at director boot camp. And I have my director boot camp shirt on. I don't know if you can see it because they just started doing in-person boot camps again. So this is in honor of all of the people who just completed boot camp earlier this week and for the ones just arriving today to start boot camp tomorrow.
What boot camp number is that?
So I was boot camp 42, and I think they've just finished 43 and 44. And I think the ones that are arriving today to start tomorrow are boot camp, I think 45, but I could be wrong.
That is so fun.
Yeah, it was a blast. It was a lot of fun.
I know, it's incredible. Guys, let me tell you a little bit about what I experienced with the Beard Boss when he joined. When he joined, one day when I went to my computer, I received this email and it said I had a new team member. So when I looked at it, I said, oh my gosh, I got a new guy on my team. So I went out there on Facebook and I announced, like I always do. I said, I have a new dude who's joined my team. So all of a sudden, he came out of nowhere and he said, well, I'm that dude. Let me join in on the party. I thought, whoa, that was like so funny. That was so fun. He had that personality and I didn't even know that. So I
You
remember
were
that.
probably thinking like, who's this crazy looking Duck Dynasty bearded looking dude from the Pacific Northwest joining my team? But actually, it wasn't by accident. It was because my Scentsy person for many years actually um, didn't recruit me. I actually tried to recruit myself and I was going to join under her because she was like really, really good at what she did. But unbeknownst to me, she was kind of transitioning out of the business at the time because of family issues. So she said, hey, I don't want you to just sign up under anybody. So she actually recommended Debbie for me. So I didn't even connect with Debbie first though, because I was ready. I was like, okay, I have a plan. I want to join. I want to get my kid. I want to get, all the things going. So I just went ahead and took her recommendation and signed up under Debbie. And then Debbie got notified before I had even a chance to introduce myself. So, but yeah,
And that was a
worked out
blessing because
perfect.
I just love our Beard Boss. I just love him. Like that was a blessing that he fell in my lap. And it happens sometimes that people just fall in your lap sometimes. You don't even know that they're gonna come. So I want to ask a few questions of our Beard Boss here right here. Why did you decide to choose Cincy as a business? Why did you choose Cincy?
Well, I mean, I was already working in a traditional job at the time, and it wasn't really kind of motivated for additional income for myself. There's actually a lot of work that I do with the weight loss surgery community across the nation, and I was trying to find a way to like fundraise for this nonprofit organization that I participate in every once in a while. And I thought, well, how could I like fundraise doing something, fun or whatever? And I was like, I'm like, I could sell Scentsy, like Scentsy, and then I could just donate my commission to the organization. So I chose Cincy though because of over every other company, because for a few reasons. Once there are probably the most I don't want to say legitimate. They're the most oh, I'm losing my word right now. My word for it right now. Not legitimate, but they've got really great ethics, and they are
A
pretty well
core
known in the
value, like a core
yeah,
value. Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
They're pretty well known in the industry for not being slimy or for not being or schemy or pyramidy or that kind of thing. They're also kind of not. They're also known for not taking advantage of their consultants and they have a really great reputation and for being reputable, I guess is the word that I was looking for. So that was like one of the main reasons. Another reason was because I love the products, but then the other reason was because they literally have something for everybody in the family. So sometimes when you look at some of these other products that you can sell through direct sales, it might be like, really heavy, like in cosmetics, right? Well, that kind of narrows down a majority of what's gonna be used or purchased, or who will be purchasing it in the family. Or you might have, things that are just kind of geared towards like losing weight, right? So unless the entire family's losing weight and the pets, whatever, are losing weight, really, there's maybe only one or two people in the household that are going to be using stuff. And for me, it was like, oh wait, no, Sensei. Not only do they have things for like men, women, children, and even the animals, but like it's stuff that people use like on a monthly or even daily basis. So it's consumable, right? So it's not like something where you buy like you buy something once. Like I'm trying to think of an example. Like let's say you were to buy some jewelry once or whatever, and you wear it occasionally or whatever. So it's just it was consumable, reputable stuff that I already really liked. So I really wanted the discount for myself. So it was a win-win. So it just made sense. So I just said, okay, this is what I'm going to sell. This is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to raise money for charity, so that I can influence and impact other people's lives. But have it be fun. I mean, I could always just work more hours or take on another kind of traditional job if I wanted just to just donate cash, but I wanted it to be more fun and more like a hobby because I make more than enough money with my traditional job to where it's I don't want to necessarily do something that's like that. I wanted something completely different.
Awesome. That was a great why. That was great why. Love that. Absolutely love that. And you have a passion for giving back. And that's what I love because
Oh
that's
yeah, because once I got into the Cincy, then that's where I learned like, hey, this could be a lot more um, than just raising money for charity and donating it. When I saw the type of impact that I could have after recruiting a team and how I can actually use my professional experience as a recruiter, and having also worked in sales and a few other things, like I saw where like my training and my background could be easily translated and used in this same atmosphere or this same environment. So once I saw that, like, wait, it's not just a win-win. It's not just a win for me because I get a discount and then a win for the charity. I saw an opportunity to actually break generational poverty with my teammates and my team members. So like it became a win-win-win situation because not only was it exciting to sort of see the team grow and see sales happen, but it was actually seeing people who were deathly afraid of talking to people, or people who had tons of social anxiety, or people who maybe have never held a traditional job, um, generating income and generating revenue for their families. Seeing people who maybe don't have any other source of self-esteem, or having people who are positive. A lot of people live in like really toxic relationships or familial situations, or they've been told all their lives that they're losers, they can't do this, they can't do that. So really watching people transform really has been probably one of the more exciting aspects to this. I mean, there's been several things that have been unexpected about this Scentsy journey for me, but that was definitely one of them. Like that was not something that I anticipated. And to me, that's almost becoming a bigger passion at this point than um, raising money for the weight loss surgery charity. If I can break generational poverty within my team, then that would be amazing.
You said a mouthful when you said that because it's nothing like it does my heart so good. It makes my heart happy when I can see lives changing because of we've extended an opportunity to somebody who never thought that this could be for them, this change could be for them. Or sometimes people just need an opportunity, and we presented that to them. And to see them really thrive in this opportunity, it makes your heart happy, doesn't it?
Yeah, and even I mean, but here's the great part about it too is even not even when people are even when they're not thriving, even when they're not, doing fantastic, or of course, which is the big thing that happens to all of us, is when people don't think they're doing good enough. There's still a lesson to be learned there, right? So having people cope with like disappointment or roadblocks or hearing no, and like teaching and training them how to have crucial conversations with people and helping them redirect that instead of internalizing that rejection as something personal, as opposed to just maybe turning it into more of a challenge, and that kind of thing. So, it's not just the wins and the successes and the people who come out of the gate and hit every award and every metric and every incentive. There's also the learning opportunity and just learning how to cope with rejection in a healthy way, and learning how to be rejected and being rejected from people who can reject in a healthy way too. So there's not just the compensation aspect of Scentsy that could be rewarding for people. There's a few things. They can just learn some basic business and life skills really doing this without even ever making a sale. They could just sit back and observe in the background and like watch the conversations that happen and how we troubleshoot problems and issues with each other and the types of training and support we give each other. There's a lot to be gained from just that. There's not a dollar value necessarily you can put on that. In fact, sometimes people pay a lot of money for that type of training. So here it's actually like a free opportunity. But for some other people, for some folks too, it could just be a matter of your children watching you wake up every day, getting a shower, getting dressed, and doing something. Like that has value as well, right? So there's all kinds of things that that it can provide to somebody aside just the compensation. Just if nothing else, there's the social aspect of it as well. I have so many friends now all over the world because of Scentsy. I already came into this with a pretty large footprint, pretty large friend network from other things, but my goodness, it's gigantor now because of Scentsy. So I try to tell folks there really is something for everybody with Scentsy, whether you sell anything or not. You could be somebody who's extremely successful and you just need to have a tax write-off, right? Well, owning your own business on the side gives you lots of opportunities to write off things that you would normally just pay for, and then you're just burning money, right? So you could have that really, kind of affluent person join just because they need the tax write-off. You can have the person who's a hobbyist who's just a big Scentsy fan. They just want the discount. You can have the person who maybe just wants to pay one or two bills a month with what they do. They don't want to invest a ton of time or put a lot of effort into things. Their goal maybe is just to pay one or two bills. There's that person too. Then there's the person who comes out of the gate and really wants to become the next superstar director. There's literally a channel for everybody in this, and there's not many models, or there's not that many direct sales companies where you can do that. I mean, there's some where if you want the discount, well, you're going to have to invest. You want to join, you're going to have to invest. You want to, you want to be successful, you've got to buy inventory. It's like that. You don't do any of that with Scentsy. You really don't. I mean, I tell some of my people, just my customers or my now who people are on my team, just treat it like a Costco membership, especially during these join specials. Pay the fee to join. Now you're going to earn cash back on every single purchase you've made. Where's the risk in that? Where's there's none. There's nothing there. So I just think it's a great opportunity for anybody, regardless of what your intention is.
Mhm. You said a lot when, I was thinking about the community. Scentsy Community is everything. I mean, you just summed it up. Uh, we daily look forward to hearing the good mornings. When we wake up in the morning, we're all saying good morning to one another. And just troubleshooting, as Kirk said, I mean, and it's funny how even when you're going through something personal, we kind of embrace one another. We do that. I mean, we're like family. It's more like family. That's really what we are. And if somebody's hurting, we all hurt. Kind of like that. We're
Yeah.
going through something. If one person's going through something, all of us are going through it. It's pretty
And it
much.
could be any day or day of the week or any hour of the night. I mean, because Debbie, she never sleeps. So
Volume. Can't hear you, Kirk. Did we lose you? Did we lose you? We can't hear you. Okay, I'm trying to see. Okay. Okay, he's coming back and see what's going on with his volume. Okay, let's see. Can you guys still hear us? Can you? Okay. Okay, he's coming back, guys. So looks like okay. He's working on that, guys. He's yeah, looks like let's see if I can get it to work on my end. Sorry guys about that. Trying to see if I can unmute the mic over here. Did your mic go out over there?
can you hear me okay?
Okay, you're back. He's back.
Okay. It's just going to use you might hear my dogs bark at some point. I think the headphones might have died. I was rearranging my office or extending my desk today. So sorry about that.
Okay.
As long as you
Okay.
can hear me okay.
Okay. We don't know what you were saying. So can you pick up on
I
that?
don't remember. Who knows? What was the last thing that I said?
We were talking about the community and
I think I just mentioned that you're up 24/7. So there's always somebody there, and in every time zone there's usually somebody on, as well. So people can, pop on if they had a question or a concern or were just bored. There's pretty much somebody always on the team chat if you needed to talk to somebody. That's
right.
for sure.
Absolutely. So I want to ask you this question. I'll be your boss. What is the key to your success? What has it been?
Well, I think what was helpful for me, and that not everybody has, so I'm very readily willing to acknowledge this, is I came into this with a pretty large social media footprint to begin with. So it's, once I kind of hit the ground running, I was already exposing my new venture, to a lot of people who already knew me or maybe who didn't know me, but I had already gained through the weight loss surgery community. So that had a lot to do with it. And that's why I really try to encourage folks, if they're going to get into this and they're going to, be serious about it, they've got to expand their network. They have to be willing to just start sending friend requests to people who are friends of friends and, not so timid or not so shy. Because what was helpful for me was that I'm not shy, that I have a pretty large social media footprint to begin with. But I would say, on my friends list, I clearly don't know all 3,000 or whatever the people. So when I first got started, I just started adding a bunch of people, who I thought might want to join because they were friends of friends or whatever, and that kind of thing. So I think that's part of it. I think the other part of the success that I've had just also has to do with I feel like I'm pretty consistent, at least with my enthusiasm for the products. How often I share the products. So I guess a better way to state that is a lot of my success is because I don't sell the product. I don't sell it. I share it. So what's really important, I guess, is that I literally try things myself and then share my experience. So I think what's been helped me be successful is I've been willing to invest a portion of my commission back into the business so that I can try all of the products or demonstrate all of the products so that I have firsthand or real world experience describing my experience. And you guys have all seen my posts and my pictures that I take and whatever. I'm not very traditional in how I market my products because I don't like to have the same thing that everybody else has. So I like to create my own pictures. Sometimes they're appropriate, sometimes they're not. I like to create my own content. Sometimes it's appropriate, sometimes it's not. But I like so I think that has a lot to do with my success, having a big social media footprint and my enthusiasm for the products.
We love it because one thing I've learned about Kirk, whatever he does, he's sharing it. He's going to give back in every way. Whatever little picture he comes up with, he's going to brand it in his special way, and he's going to share. He said, "Here's a picture for you guys." So he's not just doing it for himself; he's doing it for everybody to use. We all love our beard balls for that reason. One other thing I want to ask you: how is it that you were able to successfully bring people into your business? I mean, so right now, how many people do you have on your team?
I don't know. I want to say it's like 200 and something. It's not huge, not gigantic. It's not small either.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. It's I mean, well, being a recruiter in my traditional job is certainly helpful. Because like I can usually talk to folks, and if they're kind of on the fence, I can sort of relate to them in terms that or I can convey to them in terms that are going to relate to them based on what I know about them and what they're trying to accomplish. So I would imagine that. But then also I think what's really helpful is I've provided a space for folks where if they wanted to dip their toe into direct sales without feeling a ton of pressure, one of the key very first rules that I have on my team page is that there's absolutely no pressure. My expectation is that you don't sell anything ever. If you want to share it, that's great, whatever. But I'm not the type of person, and I'm not in this particular business to kind of crack a whip. Like my light bill is going to get paid whether my consultants do well or not. So it's like I think I provide a no pressure environment for my team. So having the recruiting experience, the no pressure environment is I think helpful. And then I think because of who I am, I align myself only with things that I know aren't going to harm people, and I think people appreciate that. And so I think people sometimes are willing to take a chance where they may not otherwise, because I am providing them a really safe space. I'm providing them support. And when I say I'm doing this, I'm really talking about my team, because our team has developed to the point to where I can literally go on vacation or flick a switch, more or less, let everyone know I'm going on vacation, and they all take care of each other. So I think that's why, I mean, and I think I have a pretty good, I'd have to go back and look at the numbers recently, but I think like last month, at least 25% of my entire group or entire team, like the whole big umbrella, I mean, I had at least 25% of my Gigantor team active. And I don't think that that's like a standard number across the board. Now, I don't think I have access to that kind of information or that kind of business data or business intelligence from Scentsy. So I don't know what the average number of active consultants in a group are for everybody else, but I think we have a pretty engaged and pretty active group. And I think we've been able to, because of that engagement, we've been able to retain a lot of folks. And I think that's really super helpful. I mean, you can recruit and recruit and recruit all day, and if the people aren't engaged, or they're not having fun, or if they're miserable, or if they don't feel supported, they're not going to do anything. So I don't care if you've got a team of 10,000, if none of them are doing anything, or if they're not having fun, then what's the point?
Absolutely. So how many directors do you have?
Well, directly my front line, I just have Alicia, but in the group now we have 2. We have Alicia, and we have Jennifer Bay, who just became director last week.
That is so amazing. I'm just
Yeah,
so
it's very
excited.
exciting. And we have people that are getting closer and closer and closer every month too. Like we
Mhm.
have folks that are consistently 75% of the way there. Like that's pretty consistent. Like that's really good.
What I've noticed most about your team, most of them they're self-sufficient. So how did that happen? Because just like you said, when you go on trips, they're self-sufficient. So how did they get to that? What happened to make that happen?
Tough love. Not really. It wasn't tough. But what I'm a big proponent of is making people use their resources. Because one of my biggest pet peeves is when I hear somebody do something or somebody makes a really big mistake or somebody gets in quote unquote trouble or Facebook jail or Scentsy compliance issues because they're like, well, I heard that you could do this. Well, I heard you could do that. And this is the same philosophy that I use when I'm managing teams in my traditional roles in my traditional jobs when I've been in management and leadership positions and was responsible for teams. Is my goal is to make everybody on my team a technical expert, right? So a lot of times before they would even be allowed to come to me with a question, unless of course it was life or death or extremely time sensitive, what I want people to do first is to use the resources. So a lot of times, when I was working in a traditional office environment, my a person on my team would have to bring their resource with them so that they could show me where they already looked for their answer before I would just answer the question for them. Now, because everything's virtual and everything's electronic, I still kind of have that philosophy to where it's like, well, where have you looked first? So a lot of times when I answer a question for somebody in the group, especially as people are being trained or whatever, um, if I provide the answer, I'm also going to almost always provide the link to the answer that will take people into their workstation. And I'll do that a few times where it's like, well, here's the answer, and this is where I found it. And then there's the link. Then if I notice that people are asking the same question over and over and over, so I know it's not actually sinking in just because they're being told the answer, then I'm going to ask, well, what did it say when you went into your workstation? And then a lot of times that's when you kind of learn that either they didn't go in their workstation or they did, which I really appreciate, but they were lost, right? Or they didn't know what to click on. So that's when we'll start. I'll say, let's click here. Let's click here. Let's click here. Because a lot of times until you learn how the workstation thinks, you may not know where to start. And I get that. And I understand that. So what I try to do is take people's knowledge to where they can at least have a starting point at some point, and then we build on it. I don't want people coming in and trying to think they have to know everything all at once and whatnot. But I do hold people responsible for starting to learn how to use their resources, and then I encourage the team to have them encourage each other to use their resources. So a lot of times when I see somebody answering a question now, I don't have to be the one who says, well, where did you look? Or where have you already looked, so that we don't duplicate efforts. They're asking each other, what did it say when you went into workstation, or where did it say when you looked at the compliance document? Because I'll drop hints. Sometimes I'll say, well, what did it say in the consultant guide? That should be their first clue. All right, let me go at least now workstation consultant guide, because there's the answer's got to be somewhere in here, because he's just asked me what did it say, when I looked in the consultant guide. So I think that's part of what's made them self-sufficient, is this like really providing an atmosphere and a culture of using our resources. Because I'll tell you, this is a major, major, major thing that I want people to understand when they're signing up under this particular direct sales company. I have never, 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 never worked for an organization, and I've worked for a lot of organizations. It's hard to believe, being only 21 years old, that I've had as much experience as I've had in the world. But I have worked for some pretty sophisticated, large, small, everything in between companies. I have never, never, never seen a resource library, training library like Cincy has. Never. there's a lot of organizations where I've had to answer somebody's question where there was not a technical resource for something. And I really literally just had to say, that's just the way it is, or that's how things are done. Or like, I know it's, wishy-washy. Not only when I look at something for Scentsy, because I learn new stuff every day when I start going into my, Sherlock Holmes mode to find an answer for something. Not only is the answer, am I able to find an answer, oh, but look, here's a training document and it's only one page and it has pictures and it's colorful and it doesn't take 4 hours to download or review. The answer's right there. And oh, look, there's a video that goes with it too. I mean, and it's not 10 years old. Like, it's current, it's relevant, it's easy. It's like, I've never seen a resource library. So for me, and I've told my teammates this before, I said it's almost offensive to the people who poured their hearts and their souls into providing these training resources for us when we don't use them. I think that's offensive, that we don't go and at least look for an answer and look at everything that's there already and how it's laid out. I mean, they've hired some of the best people in the business in these types of things and what they do. So that's how they've made the team so self-sufficient, is not only do we encourage a culture of finding the answers and utilizing your resources, but oh my goodness, the resources that are provided are extremely robust and easy to follow, and just overall just a gold mine of information.
I was about to ask you that. And what is your take? You mentioned the SFR experience. Can you share, and in closing, can you share, it was something you said to me a long time ago, but have you registered already for SFR?
I did just recently. I just was kind of watching things. I wanted to see what was going on with the pandemic and a few other things, but I have officially registered. So I will be going to SFR. It'll be my second one. But I think what was really interesting is, like, the first one, I was kind of like, yeah, I'll go to this. Cause I think by that point, I'd only been with Cincy for about 8 weeks or something. And I'm like, oh, how cute, this warmer company. And, I'm like, oh, I like Austin, so it's like, if it sucks, big whoop, I'll just, do other things. Or like, I have friends that old colleague that lives in Austin. And so I just figured, worst case scenario, I'll just go hang out with her. I was not prepared for the size, the scope, and like the overall just professionalism of this conference. Like, I literally did not expect it to be as well run, as large, as there's just not words. And then when I was like, oh, all right, yeah, this is kind of a big deal. All right, and the vibe was very exciting and very positive, and that was a lot of fun. But I'll tell you what, when we got into the general sessions, and I was listening to some of their keynote speakers that they hired for the conference, I'm like, I have paid thousands of dollars to go to big national conferences for professional reasons. And I've never seen keynote speakers who had a bigger impact on my everyday life than I did at SFR. So they spare no expense in the type of people that they engage for these conferences. That I was really blown away. And the organization and the time that they build in, so that you're not rushing from one thing to another, and giving you the opportunity to socialize and sort of be fully embraced by the entire experience. And then I really wasn't prepared for all the giveaways. I literally did not know I was going to need an extra bag to get home. So yeah, SFR is no joke. Like, people pay thousands of dollars to have access to these types of motivational speakers who aren't only going to help you with your professional life, but just even your personal life as well.
I felt the same way with my first one. I was blown away. It was reunion back in 2010, and I had a bucket list of people who I wanted to meet. So go ahead and make your bucket list right there. Write those names down. People were so nice. People received you in such a way that you didn't expect. It was just like that's why they call it Scentsy Family Reunion, because that's what it is, a big family reunion. It was just so fun.
Yeah, and it's
Uh,
really interesting too because you have access. Of course, back then I didn't know who was who or who was what. I was just meeting a ton of people, and now I look back and I'm like, holy shit. I mean, I'm sorry, holy moly. I I'm like, I met the CEOs of the company. Like, how is this possible? Like, I've just started 8 weeks ago. Like, how is it that now I'm like sitting like literally like a row behind the entire family and like they were so nice. They took some of my bracelets that I had made that said "Bearded Men Love Scentsy" or something along those lines. They're all, "Oh, can I have one of your bracelets? We heard so much about you," all kinds of stuff. And then all of these other like really really super successful consultants that you are kind of they're famous on Facebook and YouTube. I didn't know anybody back then, but I'm like, oh wow, I met some pretty cool people. But which just goes to show you like you know they're all just regular people too. And so like when you go to these reunions, they're just regular people. Don't be a wallflower and sit back and then come back and say, "Oh my gosh, I was too afraid to talk to anybody or whatever." It's like, no, just go for it. Nobody's going to be upset. Debbie
yeah.
literally needed like a security detail at one point. I was convinced because we could not get her from point A to point B, even if it was only like 300 or 400 feet in less than an hour. So, but it was fun. It was like
It
exciting. So,
was fun.
yeah,
So
it was fun.
now that's how it's going to be with you when you get there because everybody's going to know the beard balls.
Oh my
Like
gosh,
this
it's just
beard
it's
ball.
just going to be so nice. It's going to be so much fun now, knowing that everything that I know now. So my experience, even though I've been before, is going to be so much more impactful, I think, and a lot deeper. Especially having been to the reunion now and having been to the boot camp and having been to a couple of the incentive trips. It's I'm really looking forward to it.
Yes, amazing. What places have you gone so far with Cincy?
Well, I went to Meridian, Idaho, which was amazing, and I got to see the home office and the whole Scentsy Commons and the warehouse and the um, production process. So that was, you can totally geek out if you're into Scentsy. That's your opportunity to totally geek out. So I've been to Meridian, I've been to Hawaii. I did one of the leadership retreats in Hawaii, Honolulu, and I've been to Orlando. I did the Orlando incentive trip at Disney, and that needs a whole video just to itself. That is an experience I will never forget ever.
Hmm. I mean,
Yeah,
we go places pretty often because you travel a lot, but the
yeah.
Cincy experience is like none other at all.
The access that Cincy gets and the thought and the preparation and the planning of every single detail. And because of the size of the company and the corporate sponsorships and relationships they leverage, they get us access to things that I would have never seen as just a regular tourist walking in off the street. So that just was really, really appreciated and just mind blowing for sure.
Absolutely. It's mind blowing. The whole entire thing is mind blowing, right? So
Yeah.
anything else you want to offer our friends and family before we close? We just love you so much.
Well, thanks. Well, no, I really am so happy to be involved with Cincy, and I'm involved with changing lives in whatever capacity that is. I'm looking forward to things opening back up because I really miss having parties in homes and open houses and that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I just am happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of the team. I feel very fortunate to have landed on your team and have had all of the support that I've had with you. And I'm just hoping to pay all of that forward. I'm looking forward to many, many more years and hopefully continued success.
You're doing an amazing job. We all love you because you always give back. Sometimes I look up on two occasions I've gotten gifts from my beard boss, like, where did this gift come from? And like, oh, that was for me. They didn't put a name in there. See, he's always so thoughtful. You just don't even expect it out. I mean, he does his team members the same way. They don't expect things. They just get things, and we all just love him. We love him to death. We just do. We're
Well,
just
thank
so
you.
blessed
I
to
love
have you.
everyone too.
Yes, we love you. We're so blessed to have you to be a part of our family.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
I told him, I said, okay, we got to get your story. Are you ready? He said, yes, I'm ready. I'm going to do this. Like, yes, let's do this. So,
That's funny.
but thank you guys for joining us. And once again, thank you to our beard boss for allowing us to hear his amazing story and why he's so giving back to Cincy and why he chose Cincy. We're just so grateful to have you. So,
All right.
see you guys next time. Love you guys.
All right.
Bye.